Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're hunting for some killer thrillers to stream this month, you're in the right place. I've put together 11 of the best thrillers you can watch this September 2025 on HBO Max, Hulu, and AMC+. We've got everything from gritty crime stories to edge-of-your-seat psychological dramas, so stick around because there's a good chance you haven't seen a few of these. Number 11. Influencer. Directed by Curtis David Harder, Influencer is a sleek and unnerving psychological thriller that explores identity, trust, and the performative nature of social media. The film follows Madison, a popular travel influencer, who embarks on a solo trip to Thailand after her boyfriend cancels at the last minute. While projecting an image of a perfect life online, her reality is far lonelier and more vulnerable. Things take a dark turn when she befriends CW, a mysterious woman with an almost predatory calmness, whose motives are far more sinister than they first appear. Emily Tennant delivers a layered performance as Madison, balancing charm with fragility, while Cassandra Naud's portrayal of CW is chilling in its quiet menace, equal parts charismatic and dangerous. Their dynamic becomes the heart of the film, turning a sun-drenched paradise into a deceptive landscape of manipulation and survival. Stylishly shot and sharply paced, Influencer avoids typical slasher tropes, instead opting for tension built through psychological games, shifting power dynamics, and the eerie emptiness behind curated online personas. It's a modern cautionary tale, gripping, elegant, and deeply unsettling. Fans of slow-burn thrillers like Gone Girl or The Talented Mr. Ripley will find this one hypnotic and hard to shake. Number 10. Girl in the Bunker. Directed by Stephen Kemp, Girl in the Bunker is a tense and unsettling thriller grounded in the chilling reality of abduction and psychological control. The film follows Elizabeth Schoaf, a 14-year-old girl lured into captivity by a man posing as a police officer. She's taken deep into the woods and confined in an underground bunker, where isolation and manipulation become as dangerous as any physical restraint. What unfolds is a battle of wits and endurance, as Elizabeth navigates fear and despair while plotting her escape from a captor whose calm demeanor conceals an obsessive, volatile mind. Julia Lalonde anchors the film with a quietly powerful performance, balancing vulnerability with a sharp survival instinct. Opposite her, Henry Thomas delivers a disturbing portrayal of the abductor, soft-spoken yet menacing, his control rooted in psychological dominance rather than brute force. Their dynamic keeps the tension simmering, transforming a claustrophobic setting into a stage for raw human resilience. Fans of true crime dramas and survival thrillers will find it gripping, unsettling, and ultimately a testament to courage under unimaginable pressure. Number 9. Hellion. Directed by Kat Candler, Hellion is a gritty and emotionally charged indie drama that weaves adolescent rebellion with the raw ache of familial loss. The film follows Jacob Wilson, a volatile 13-year-old struggling to cope after his mother's death. Neglected by his grief-stricken father, Jacob channels his anger into destructive behavior, pulling his younger brother into a spiral of chaos. But when Child Protective Services intervenes and removes his brother, Jacob is forced to confront the weight of his choices and the fragile bond that holds his family together. Josh Wiggins delivers a breakout performance as Jacob, embodying the restless energy of youth, teetering on the edge of self-destruction. His portrayal is visceral yet tender, capturing a boy hardened by circumstance but desperate for connection. Aaron Paul grounds the narrative as Hollis, a flawed but sympathetic father, drowning in regret. Together, they form a jagged, deeply human portrait of love and failure. Supporting turns from Juliette Lewis and Deke Garner add nuance and authenticity to this fractured family dynamic. For fans of character-driven dramas like Mud and Joe, this is a story as bruised and unflinching as the people it portrays. Number 8. American Star. directed by Gonzalo Lopez Gallego. American Star is a meditative and atmospheric neo-noir thriller that explores loneliness, morality, and the inevitability of fate. The story follows Wilson, an aging contract killer who arrives on the serene island of Fuerteventura for what seems to be a routine assignment. But when his target fails to appear, Wilson finds himself suspended in an unexpected limbo, wandering sun-bleached landscapes, forming a tentative bond with a local woman, and slowly reckoning with the weight of his violent past. As time stretches and doubt creeps in, the film becomes less about the kill and more about the quiet unraveling of a man searching for meaning in the twilight of his life. Ian McShane anchors the film with a performance steeped in restraint and wariness. His portrayal of Wilson is all nuance, minimal words, haunted eyes, and the kind of lived-in gravitas that speaks louder than any gunshot. His chemistry with co-star Nora Arnezeder adds warmth to an otherwise chilly world, while a sparse supporting cast amplifies the film's sense of isolation and inevitability. It's a story of mortality and moral ambiguity, set against a backdrop of stark beauty and lingering silence. Fans of films like The American and Drive will find this one hypnotic, melancholy, and quietly devastating. Number 7. The Dry, directed by Robert Connolly. The Dry is a restrained and atmospheric crime thriller that fuses a gripping murder mystery with a deeply personal story of guilt, grief, and the inescapable pull of the past. The film centers on Aaron Falk, a federal agent who returns to his drought-stricken hometown for the funeral of a childhood friend. What appears to be a tragic case of murder-suicide soon reveals fractures beneath the surface, as Aaron becomes entangled in an investigation that forces him to confront the lingering shadows of an unsolved tragedy from his own youth. Eric Bana delivers a quietly commanding performance as Aaron, anchoring the film in stoic resolve and unspoken vulnerability. His portrayal carries an emotional gravity that mirrors the barren landscapes around him, measured, haunted, and steeped in unhealed wounds. Supporting turns from Genevieve O'Reilly, Keir O'Donnell, and Matt Nable add further complexity, with each character concealing truths as parched and brittle as the land itself. Elegantly shot and deliberately paced, The Dry resists sensationalism, choosing instead to explore the corrosive nature of secrets and the weight of memory. Fans of slow-burning mysteries like Mystic River and Prisoners will find this one quietly mesmerizing and deeply resonant. Number 6. Deepwater Horizon. Directed by Peter Berg, Deepwater Horizon is a gripping and unflinching disaster thriller that fuses procedural intensity with a deeply human portrait of courage in the face of chaos. The film centers on Mike Williams, a seasoned oil rig technician working aboard the Deepwater Horizon, a massive offshore drilling platform in the Gulf of Mexico. What begins as a routine day spirals into catastrophe when a cascade of ignored warnings and mounting corporate pressure trigger a deadly blowout. As fire engulfs the rig and systems collapse, survival becomes an act of sheer will against overwhelming odds. Mark Wahlberg anchors the film with a grounded, empathetic performance, portraying Mike as both an everyman and an unyielding survivor. He's matched by Kurt Russell's commanding presence as the rig's integrity chief and Gina Rodriguez's quiet strength in a role that humanizes the chaos. Kate Hudson provides emotional depth as Mike's wife, amplifying the stakes beyond the rig. Fans of fact-based thrillers like Only the Brave and Captain Phillips will find it both harrowing and profoundly moving. Number 5. Sisu. Directed by Jalmari Helander, Sisu is a brutal and darkly exhilarating action thriller that fuses pulp violence with mythic undertones and a stark, war-torn backdrop. The film centers on Tommy Korpi, a solitary prospector who discovers gold in the desolate wilderness of Lapland during the final days of World War II. His quiet triumph turns into a savage battle for survival when a retreating Nazi unit seizes his fortune. What follows is a relentless, blood-soaked pursuit, one that transforms a simple man into an unstoppable force of vengeance, defying death with sheer will and ferocity. Jorma Tomila anchors the film with a near-wordless performance that radiates stoic intensity. His portrayal of Atami is both elemental and magnetic, a man shaped by violence, yet moving with the precision of a predator. He's matched by Axel Hennie's sharp, calculating turn as the Nazi commander, with supporting players adding menace and unpredictability to the chase. Brutally stylized and unapologetically primal, Sisu doesn't lean on dialogue or intricate plotting. It thrives on raw physicality, inventive carnage, and stunning visual compositions that turn brutality into spectacle. Number 4. World War Z. Directed by Mark Forster, World War Z is an intense and globe-spanning apocalyptic thriller that fuses large-scale spectacle with the intimate urgency of survival. The film centers on Jerry Lane, a former UN investigator whose quiet life is shattered when a viral outbreak ignites a global catastrophe. As cities collapse and order disintegrates, Jerry is thrust into a desperate mission to trace the origins of the infection, a journey that takes him across continents, from crumbling urban landscapes to high-security labs, in a race against time to save humanity. Brad Pitt delivers a steady, grounded performance as Jerry, embodying a man whose calm resolve contrasts with the chaos around him. His portrayal avoids the trappings of a traditional action hero, instead offering a character driven by intellect, adaptability, and a relentless will to protect his family. Strong supporting turns from Mireille Enos and Daniela Curtis bring emotional depth and hardened resilience to a story defined by its scale and stakes. Tense, propulsive, and meticulously constructed, World War Z isn't concerned with gore or shock value. It thrives on escalating tension, logistical realism, and the unsettling plausibility of its scenario. Rather than leaning on traditional zombie horror, it reimagines the genre as a fast-moving, pandemic-driven thriller. Number 3. Misery. Directed by Rob Reiner, Misery is a tense and psychologically charged thriller that fuses claustrophobic suspense with a chilling study of obsession and control. The film centers on Paul Sheldon, a successful novelist who wakes up in the isolated home of Annie Wilkes after a devastating car accident. Initially grateful for his rescue, Paul soon realizes that Annie is not his savior but his captor, a devoted fan whose admiration twists into something far more sinister. As Paul struggles to escape, their relationship becomes a harrowing battle of wills, played out within the suffocating confines of a snowbound cabin. James Caan brings quiet desperation and resilience to Paul, portraying a man forced to outthink rather than overpower his tormentor. Opposite him, Kathy Bates delivers a legendary performance as Annie, alternating between tender devotion and explosive rage with terrifying unpredictability. Her portrayal is both riveting and deeply unsettling, earning her an Academy Award for its complexity and intensity. Intimate, unnerving, and masterfully restrained, Misery rejects cheap shocks in favor of psychological depth and relentless tension. Anyone drawn to character-driven thrillers will discover a haunting, unforgettable experience, one that stands as a defining work of the genre. Number 2. Goodfellas. Directed by Martin Scorsese, Goodfellas is a raw and electrifying crime drama that blends intimate character study with a relentless chronicle of greed, loyalty, and inevitable betrayal. The film centers on Henry Hill, a streetwise kid whose lifelong dream is to live as a gangster. Drawn into the world of organized crime, Henry ascends through the ranks under the guidance of seasoned mobsters Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito. But as the stakes rise and paranoia sets in, the glamorous facade of power begins to crumble, revealing the brutal consequences of a life built on violence and deception. Ray Liotta delivers a compelling, multifaceted performance as Henry, capturing both the seduction and the corrosion of the criminal lifestyle. Robert De Niro brings a quiet intensity to Jimmy, while Joe Pesci turns in a career-defining portrayal as the volatile and unpredictable Tommy, a performance equal parts riveting and terrifying. Lorraine Bracco adds depth as Karen, a woman torn between love and complicity in Henry's escalating downfall. Meticulously crafted and sharply observed, Goodfellas isn't interested in glorifying crime. It dissects it with style, wit, and brutal honesty. A masterclass in storytelling and character work, it remains one of the most enduring and influential films of its genre. Number 1. Seven. Directed by David Fincher, Seven is a grim and unrelenting psychological thriller that fuses procedural intrigue with a chilling meditation on sin, justice, and moral decay. The film follows detectives Somerset and Mills, two investigators drawn into a series of grotesque murders, each meticulously staged to represent one of the seven deadly sins. What begins as a methodical manhunt spirals into a disturbing psychological game, where every discovery brings them closer to a truth neither is prepared to confront. Morgan Freeman anchors the film with a performance of quiet depth, capturing Somerset's weary intellect and haunted perspective, while Brad Pitt injects raw energy and volatility into Mills, a man driven by pride and vulnerability. Kevin Spacey delivers an unnervingly restrained turn as the enigmatic killer, and Gwyneth Paltrow brings tenderness and fragility as Tracy, grounding the story in emotional reality. Darkly atmospheric and thematically piercing, Seven doesn't rely on flashy action or conventional thrills. It's a slow-burning descent into human darkness, sustained by mood, character tension, and existential dread. Anyone drawn to thought-provoking crime dramas will find it unforgettable and uncompromisingly Fincher.